Let's make a gluten-free chocolate ganache tart. Welcome back, bakers. I've got a gorgeous new recipe for you today. We're going to make a chocolate ganache tart, and this time not only is it dairy free, but it is gluten free as well. So I'm just going ahead starting to add our ingredients. We're using a gluten free 1-to-1 flour, some salt and some plant-based butter to make sure that it is dairy free as well. And you're going to start by using your hand mixer to whisk those ingredients together until you get a sand-like breadcrumb consistency. That's going to start the base of our shortcrust pastry, and if you feel intimidated making pastry, this is the simplest one that you will ever make. So let's go ahead now and add some icing sugar to it as well, just for a little bit of a nicer texture. And then finally we're going to beat 1 egg and then add it to our mixture. Now all my ingredients for this are at room temperature as well. So if you are going to remake this, make sure you pull all your ingredients out in time for them to get to room temperature before you start. Perfect. So as you can see, we've just used 5 ingredients for this shortcrust pastry, and it is so simple to make, and it's not too sweet either, so it's the perfect base for our tart. Finish off mixing that up with your hand mixer. You could of course make this by hand as well if you prefer, and once it starts to clump together, as you can see here, we're almost at the stage where we're going to transfer it to our surface. Now let's just scrape down that bowl, make sure everything is nice and combined, clean it off, and then we can add it to our floured surface. So here, obviously, because we're doing gluten-free, I am using this particular flour. It is a 1-to-1 baking flour, which is a perfect substitute if you are just trying out some gluten-free baking, because you don't have to add anything else to it. This company has actually already gone ahead and made all the adjustments to the flour, so it literally is a 1-to-1 substitute, which of course means if you're not gluten-free, you can still make this recipe and just substitute it for plain flour or all-purpose flour instead. I've given it a quick knead on the surface here just to get it into a nice ball, and this quantity is going to be enough to make 4 or 5 mini tartlets. So I've just taken a portion of that. I'm going to roll it out. You don't want to roll it too thin because we are actually going to shape it in our tartlet cases. These cases are so cute. They're about 4 3/4 inches and they have a loose bottom, which means that it's going to be super easy to release the tarts at the end once everything is baked. So pop your pastry inside. You can see I'm just using my fingers here just to tease it into place. I'm pressing it lightly against the side as well, so we'll get that nice fluted design. And then using a sharp knife, you just want to go ahead and cut off the excess pastry. And that's perfect. So we'll pop those offcuts to one side where you can use those for the remainder of the pastry. And then I'm going to go ahead and just prick a couple of holes in it with a fork, pop it in the fridge to firm up for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to go on to the next stage. Now this is really important. If you want to avoid having a soggy bottom on your pastry, you always want to blind bake it. So I've just added a circle of parchment paper, then I've added some baking beads on top of it. I will pop some links in the description below so you can purchase these from Amazon if you don't already own them, but it is such an important step. Now we're going to bake this in the oven at 340 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. That's going to make sure that when we actually put our filling in our tart, it's not going to go soggy. So now you want to be really careful with this because it is very hot. It's just come out of the oven and we want to take those baking beads out. So I suggest popping a bowl on the side and then lifting them out with the parchment paper so you're not actually going to touch those beads. There you go. You can see there's still some little raw spots on the center of our pastry. So we're going to pop it back in the oven to finish that off for 5 minutes. And when it comes out, it looks like this. It is lovely and firm. We're going to let it sit and cool until we're ready to add our filling. So with this tart, I wanted to add something a little different and just add a bit of extra sweetness to it, which is some homemade strawberry jam. Check out the link above for my recipe for that. It's a really easy jam to make, just 2 ingredients, and the link will be in the description below as well. And I'm just doing a couple of teaspoons and spreading it on the bottom of the base. Doesn't that look pretty? Next, let's talk about our ganache, which is going to be the filling for the chocolate tart. So this is a dairy-free whipping cream that I actually found in my local store this week. I believe it's fairly new on the market here in Canada. And all you need to make ganache is 2 ingredients. So 100 grams of vegan chocolate chips, or you could cut up your favorite chocolate bar as well, and then 100 ml of the dairy-free whipping cream. Now I've popped that in a jug because we're actually going to heat it up in the microwave for about 1 minute until it's slightly bubbling. Then you're going to go ahead and pour it on top of your chocolate chips. Now the important thing, do not stir it at this stage. I know you may feel that you want to stir it straight away to get it to combine, but it's actually better if you let it sit for 3 minutes and then go ahead and whisk it together. You'll get a much better consistency for your ganache if you let it sit for those 3 minutes. So it is still fairly warm at this stage, but what you can see, as soon as you start whisking it, you create this gorgeous chocolate sauce, which is perfect for filling tart cases with, or you can even use it in cupcakes. You can use it in between macarons as well if you let it firm up a little bit, but we're actually going to use it whilst it's still at its pourable stage. So you can see here it's got the right consistency for that. I'm just going to go ahead and pour that over our tart case. Now this does make more than enough for 1 tart, so if you wanted to make extra tarts with the pastry that we made in the beginning, you will have enough probably to fill another 2 of those tartlet cases if you wanted to go ahead and make those as well. Give it a bit of a jiggle. You want to try and level it out. Now I did think about doing it with a spoon, but I thought actually, because this is my first time doing it, let's actually just let it settle on its own and see what it turns out like. And then you're going to pop it in the fridge for a couple of hours until it sets. And then let's have a look at what it looks like once it comes back out. So now the tart has set. We are actually going to take it out of that little case now. So you just pop your hand underneath, push the side off like so. It comes off really easily, and then you can slide the bottom off as well. Let's have a look at the underneath. No soggy bottom in sight here, so that blind baking did a perfect job for us. Now we're going to go ahead and finish off the tart with a little bit of coarse sea salt, and that's just to balance out the sweetness because this is quite a sweet tart. You could obviously leave the salt off if you don't mind it being that sweet. And now we're going to go ahead and cut it so you can see what it looks like inside. You can see that it's not quite fully firm, but it is firm enough to hold its shape here. It's not runny at all, which is gorgeous. And there you get that little sneak of that strawberry jam in the bottom as well. So I'm really impressed with this. It was my first time using this whipped cream to make a dairy-free ganache, and it's actually looking pretty good too. So I love the shine that it's got on it as well, and it was such a quick and easy dessert to make. Now make sure you check out the link in the description below where you can find the full printable recipe and more information about this bake on my website at bakeangel.com. Make sure you check out this baking list as well for more of my delicious bakes, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Thanks for watching.